Hey guys, this is HD getting back into the commentary world here, and I have a special kind of video for you guys today. And I know you guys are really used to the commentary style, kind of a shoutcasting, play-by-play, but I've realized that I haven't done that many tutorials or just basic strategy on how to win, the essential of StarCraft 2, how to just get into the ladder and start winning. So this game, I'm going to have a kind of different style of commentary, and I'm going to basically explain the basic build order, starting build order, strategy, as well as just like a basic tutorial. And it is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss. I'm going to basically do Zerg first because I'm most comfortable with Zerg. It is my best race. So as you guys can see right here, the first thing is just start pumping out drones, right? And using the rally point. Use a rally point and set it on a mineral that doesn't have a drone on it, so that you can always have the drone correctly go to the first patch that isn't getting mined. So with the first 100 minerals you get when you're at 9 supply, you build an Overlord, and then you build a drone at as soon as you get 50 minerals. So you should be at 1010 with an Overlord and a drone popping out. First Overlord comes out, first drone comes out, and you build another drone. And you keep building drones until you get to 14 supply. And I've kind of got this new build now. I know before I said 13 pool, 14 hatch was a great way to go, but I've expanded that to 14 pool, 15 hatch, which is more economical. And I actually like it a little bit more. So basically you keep pumping drones until you're at 14 supply. You can always mark yourself by looking at the top right hand corner of the screen. And once you get to 14 supply, you use your first 200 minerals on a spawning pool. After the spawning pool goes down, pump 2 drones to get to 15 supply, and then you throw down a fast expansion. So this is a very basic, very solid starting build. It gives you great economy. You don't really have to worry about pumping out more drones. You can focus your larva on pumping out units. And I know a lot of times when you guys play Zerg, the difficult thing is, oh, should I use my larva on drones or should I use my larva on units? It's always a balancing act. But in the beginning, if you just pump straight drones, you don't have to worry about that nearly as much. Now, one thing I do want to mention, this is on Kulos Ravine, and so we are, I don't know where my opponent is. And look at this, it's being a little annoying with that probe. One thing you never want to do is, and I see a lot of players do this, is pull all their drones off the line to attack the scouting probe. Never, ever, ever do that. So as soon as the spawning pool comes out, you should have 150 minerals. You pump your queen, and I am going to make a pair of Zerglings as well, just so I can get that scout off, because I still don't know where my opponent is at. Getting back to the drone, a scouting probe in your mineral line, what you usually want to do is just get 2 workers on the scouting worker and just kind of get rid of the nuisance that way, instead of losing mining time by telling all your workers to attack it. So what you guys just saw me do there was shift click my group of Zerglings, which is only 2 of course, and by shift clicking you can tell one Zergling to go to a certain location and the other Zergling to go to a different location. So one is going to the watchtower, actually one is going to the bottom left and one is going to the bottom right now, because I still haven't seen the bottom left hand corner of the map. Now you guys may have noticed that as soon as the hatchery went down, I did throw up an extractor as well. I forgot to mention that in the build order. But basically once you have your fast expand out, you can be a little more flexible with your build. The build order is not as rigid as it was before, because now you have to adapt to how your opponent is playing. You have to adapt to what your opponent's doing, and so that's where your build order needs to change and it becomes more personalized and more stylized. So you guys can see that with your first 100 gas, typically you want to either get layer or you want to get Zergling speed, and so I'm a little bit lacking in that. I decided to get Zergling speed first, and then with your next 100 gas, you want to get layer, if you get Zergling speed first. So you guys will notice in the top right hand corner, I'm a little bit lacking behind in that. Even though I'm clicking frantically across the map, this is the beauty of StarCraft really. It's easy to learn, but it's impossible to master, because there's so many things to do at once. And you guys will also notice the queen has a little bit of extra energy as well, and she should always have 0 energy. You want to use her spawn larva ability whenever it is up, and you only need 1 for 2 hatcheries, at least early on. Now the reason why I'm destroying those rocks here on Kulas Ravine is because it is going to open up this extra expansion for me, and eventually I am going to want to grab a third expo, and I'd like that high ground area. It is easily defendable. Now a Phoenix has come into my base, and this says two different things, to me at least. As a Zerg player against Protoss, similar to Brood War, a lot of times the Protoss player will just send a single Corsair simply for scouting information. Other times they'll actually commit to the Phoenix / Corsair and use that to harass your Overlords. Now the additional threat in Starcraft 2 is that of course Phoenixes can pick up ground units. Seeing as how that Phoenix hasn't moved around in my base anymore, I'm assuming that there's going to be more Phoenixes coming in, and so I'm going to need my Hydra Den most likely as soon as possible, but I just want to make sure. So there are 2 Phoenixes coming in my base, and so I am going to throw down a Hydralisk Den because I'm going to need to be able to defend against those really annoying units. Now you guys might notice, okay, there's 3 Phoenixes now. Okay, I'm going to lose Overlords, I'm going to get under supply, but the important thing is to not panic. Bring whatever you can to help defend, so I am bringing my other Queen over to help defend against this. And of course, notice that my Zerglings are traversing across the map right now. The reason for that is because they're worthless right now at my base, and I've already destroyed the rocks. So I'm going to use them to try to distract the Protoss player and kind of keep his attention away from these Phoenixes.
Our forces are under attack.
Of course, my opponent is pretty good, and he's got his wall going on here. He's not moved his forces out yet. And so if he had moved out, my Zerglings would have gotten in there and done a lot of damage. Notice the entire time I've been losing Overlords, constructing new Overlords to replace it, so I have enough psi to pump out the Hydralisks. So I do have a couple Hydras coming out right now. And there is a couple Stalkers right in front of the army here, so the first thing you want to do when you see Stalkers like that, move your Zerglings and just surround those Stalkers. And notice there is a proxy pylon here, so I'm going to have to fall back. The important thing here is to play very carefully. You don't want to lose any Hydralisk. A Hydralisk, even with 1 HP, is still as deadly as any other Hydralisk. So it's important not to lose any units, and to remember to keep pumping out more Hydras. Now, notice my Hydra army, this is a really close battle, guys. But I'm going to use the Queen's Transfusion ability here to heal one of the Hydralisks. In this scenario, it's actually better to heal the Hydralisk that you've got rather than just spend the energy to make a larva, or make additional larva, because every Hydralisk is going to count, and so I am going to push my opponent back here. And once again, I do want to mention that this is not a typical shoutcast, not a play-by-play, so I'm not really commentating on the action, rather more the strategy and the build order involved, just kind of like a tutorial. So one little minor thing there you guys might have noticed, go ahead and rewind if you didn't, is I pulled the Hydra back that had the lowest HP. Very important to keep, every Hydralisk alive. And spewing creep up here, that's actually the rock expansion for my Protoss opponent. And every little bit helps at this point, because if my opponent tries to expand there, well, he's going to need something to kill off that Overlord, so it's going to be that little bit of a delay. And I am making a counter push here. And my opponent is very low on army, and the reason for that is because he committed to so many Phoenixes. I figured, hey, he's not going to have much army units, so now's the time to counterattack. So it's just little things like that that really help your play and can help you win, especially in the ladder, because it's really competitive. Just knowing when to attack, when not to attack, and of course that all comes with practice. Practice is the most important thing. Watching replays is fine, watching me cast is a good way to learn, but practice is the most important out of all. So from here you guys can see there's no real strict build order anymore. It's kind of become more flexible, and I'm sure more elongated, more extended build orders will actually come out as the game evolves, but as for now I'm just kind of playing off the top of my head. So there's no like real set amount of buildings that you should be building or anything like that. One thing I do want to mention is I do have an Overseer and an Overlord with my main army. The reason for that is in case of Dark Templar, and number 2, I like to rally all my hatcheries to the Overseer. And the reason for the Overlord is because I have the creep generation on autocast. So when the battle occurs, my Hydralisk will get a nice little speed boost. So I'm going to move in here and notice my opponent doesn't have any forces, and I watched the replay. The reason for this is because he tried to grab the expansion and up on the top and realized that there was creep up there. So he brought all of his forces to deal with the Overlord, and now he's showing his disgust about the Zerg, and I agree, they're pretty disgusting. But anyways, my opponent has left the game, and of course, I do want to remind you guys that this was not a standard shoutcast that I usually do where I do a play-by-play and I talk about the action and everything. This game was more of a tutorial to teach you guys the opening build, how to react on early pressure, and basically what units to go, and just a basic kind of a tutorial slash strategy. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll probably have more of these kind of commentaries coming out. But of course, I'll still be doing the shoutcasting, which I know is more entertaining. But this hopefully helps improve some people's games, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I thought that was pretty fun. So thanks a lot for tuning in. And of course, now you guys all know what I look like. So imagine me saying HD Starcraft, signing out.